Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me again on my mental health live stream. This is Dr. Stephen Walker, licensed psychologist, coming at you live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, here every Tuesday and Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Mountain, and 6 p.m. on the West Coast. So I'm here twice a week, to talk about your mental health, to talk about what's on your mind, to talk about whatever's on your mind. Tonight, we're talking about, do I need to mention that one more time? To talk about what's ever on your mind. But tonight we're going to talk about how to manage substance abuse, how to know the difference between substance use, substance abuse, substance dependency, all those things, because this is something that's plaguing many people's lives, overuse of medication, alcohol, marijuana, any kind of drug. So again, but remember, these mental health live streams are for you to talk about your mental health, talk about whatever's on your mind. So I don't want it to be me just talking. It's about engaging and getting comments and getting feedback from the viewer about whatever they're struggling with. Because again, everyone has a degree of mental illness. You're going to hear me start every broadcast like that. Everyone has a degree of mental illness. We don't talk about it enough. Everyone has a degree of mental illness, just like everyone has a degree of physical illness. Hey, Sam, how are you? Thanks for coming back. Thanks for all your support. So we need to talk about it. Bottom line, we don't talk about our mental health enough. We don't engage with people about it. People aren't open about it. So we have a society that stigmatizes mental health and mental illness. So again, if you're new to this, or if you're old to this, or if whatever, please check out some of my other videos on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. YouTube has an algorithm that allows for people with more subscribers to get higher rankings and more views. And the more people who subscribe to the channel, the more people will see mental health related information for them. So let's talk a little bit about substance abuse, substance use, dependency, all of that. If you're struggling, if you're watching this and you're struggling with an addiction, or if you catch it after I post it, shoot me a question, engage with me about it. Let's talk about it, because we need to talk about it. We need to engage with things that are affecting us negatively. And remember, one of mental illness is just like a physical illness. If you're experiencing pain, if you're experiencing discomfort, if your people around you are experiencing pain and discomfort, you might have some degree of mental illness there. Hey, Juan, how are you? Juan's saying, Doc, I talked to my bro, not to use the N-word around me. He's cool, not making black jokes around us. Way to go, Juan. Way to go, my brother. See, that's what I mean by talking things out with people. I'm sure he didn't react as negatively as you thought he would. I'm sure that, well, Juan, let me ask you something, bro. What did you learn from that experience? What did you learn from that exercise? And it's great that people are, logging on to this live, engaging with me, and then taking whatever they learn or whatever they get in these back into their life, because that's why I'm doing it. I mean, I carry a full boat of clients during the day, and then I log on, try to get on twice a week to try to help people talk things out with people. I know people will say, well, dude, that's you have a bias about talking things out because that's what you do for a living. Yeah, I do have a bias, just like a dentist has a bias and other doctors have a bias, because they know it works. And not talking things out doesn't work. Keeping things in doesn't work. Now, I'm not saying we should just talk out everything like blah, but if you have an issue, many people who, if you don't know, Juan was talking about one of his family member or his brother using the N-word, and he found it offensive, and he was struggling with whether or not to say anything. So he broke through those boundaries, talked to him about it. I'm sure the conversation went well, and he probably will now respect your wishes. And if he doesn't, you guys need to talk about it again. And if he doesn't again, then you need to decide to what degree you want to have this person in your life who's continuing to cause you this kind of pain. So Juan is saying boundaries, man, and people that respect them. Exactly. People need to respect each other's boundaries. So let's talk a little bit about tonight's topic, which is substance abuse, substance use, substance abuse, all of that. Let's talk about why it's important to distinguish between substance use, substance abuse, and dependency. So the mental health disorder book, the DSM, doesn't actually have a section called alcoholism. It's not that. There are categories for when you're falling into abuse or dependency. Now, let's start with use. Everybody, not everybody, but most people use some form of whether it's tobacco, whether it's caffeine, whether it's pharmaceuticals, whether it's, an indirect drug, which is shopping or sex. Everyone has some, not everyone, I shouldn't say that, but a lot of people have a use of a substance or an activity that brings them positive feelings. It makes them feel good. Hey, Penny, how are you? Thanks for joining again. Your opinion on medical marijuana, please. Okay, Sam, straight to it. All for it. All for it. All for the regulation of cannabis, all for the medical use of it. I even vote for recreational. Why? Because marijuana, if used correctly, can help people with a broad range of pains, of illnesses. It's been shown to help in depression and anxiety. The key, Sam, is dose. Me too. Yeah, good. But the key is dosage and use. I am not a proponent of waking and baking. I'm not a proponent of using marijuana as a way to deal with your emotions. I'm not a proponent of becoming dependent on marijuana. Excellent, Sam. Huge proponent of using cannabis instead of pain medication, pharmaceuticals. Not saying all pharmaceuticals are bad and get rid of all your pharmaceuticals, but what I am saying is that if I had to prescribe, I'm not a prescriber, but if I had to prescribe, I would definitely recommend people find a alternative to the amount of pharmaceuticals that we're ingesting. It's staggering. Pain medication is a perfect example of that. You guys have heard me talk many times about how a lot of prescribers will tell people with pain medication, don't wait to feel the pain, take it before you feel the pain, which is absolutely the worst thing you can tell somebody, because people need to find out how much does something hurt. Pain has a weird thing. Like, there's definitely some people who have constant pain, but most people ebb and flow of the intensity of the pain, and you need to find out how much pain you can tolerate. Okay. So, but let's talk about marijuana. So let's say, you don't need a doctoral degree to answer some of these questions. What's the difference between abuse and dependency, or use and abuse? Well, use is something casual. Pam is saying CBD helps some with pain. Absolutely. They're just discovering what the benefits of marijuana can be. But again, remember, it's all about dosage, because there are a lot of studies out there coming out that chronic, heavy use of marijuana is being associated with psychosis and paranoia and schizophrenia. It's all about dosage. You can overdose on marijuana. Now, you're not going to die like other drugs. You're not going to take enough and then overdose and pass away like heroin or cocaine or any of the other really harder drugs. But what happens when you overdose on marijuana is you feel that kind of like freaky, I'm going crazy, I'm dying kind of pain sensation. It's all about dosage. So getting back to the topic tonight, how do you know if you have a dependency? Okay, one of the main ways that you can know if you have a dependency is a simple question to ask yourself. Am I doing more of this drug to get the same effect I used to get? Okay, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the law of diminishing returns. The law of diminishing returns is the more you do something that feels good, the less it starts feeling good, and then the more you have to do it. Okay, that's the law of diminishing returns. Think about law of diminishing returns. The more you do it, the less of a return you get. Dependency is when you start building up tolerance. Okay, dependency is when you're starting to feel that you need this in order for whatever it may be. This movie would be fun, but it would be better if I was high. or we're going to go out and have fun at this bar or party, or not bar, but you're going there to drink, but this event. And it would be much better if I drink or take some shots tonight, like before I go on live. I'm nervous, I'm uptight. Oh, I need a couple of drinks to calm down. That's dependency. Simple, common sense. Dependent. Do I feel dependent on this in order to do things that I normally wouldn't do? Abuse, on the other hand, is when you're doing a substance, when you're partaking in a substance, and you're getting a lot of negative things happening in your world. You're abusing it, and your behavior's changing. You're doing reckless things. You're spending more money. You're getting fired from your job. Your wife or husband's telling you, dude or honey, you don't stop using this much, our relationship ain't gonna make it. Okay. Samantha saying people in legal states with my condition don't take opioids. Not as an absolute, but you're right, Samantha. You're right. You're absolutely right. People in states where marijuana or medical marijuana, they've seen a drastic decrease in the amount of pharmaceuticals people are taking. Yeah, addiction does suck. It's very difficult. I've worked in multiple clinical settings, multiple addiction facilities, private, public, jails. And so I've had multiple scenarios seen at the ravages of addiction, and pharmaceutical companies. I think you all saw recently on the news that one of the major pharmaceutical companies owned by some mega rich family just got fined for their use of painkillers and how they've been disseminated through their company. The bottom line is this. So Pam is saying, my son can't smoke marijuana because he has bipolar and schizophrenia and will cause him psychosis. Exactly. That's exactly what heavy use of marijuana will do for you. Back in my younger days when I was at Penn State and, you're a college kid, the marijuana that, we were occasionally using was not even remotely as powerful as what they have now. So I encourage everyone who's getting the current strains of marijuana to be very careful with the dosage, because the dosage is key. You've seen stories on the news of people who, think they, I'll eat this whole brownie, and then they call 911. I'm dying, please help me. Because there's a psychoactive, meaning an active component of cannabinoids and all the different the THC, all of that in marijuana, that is so intense these days that it will cause, that's my son in the background, that it will cause people to have these types of schizophrenia and psychosis type related reactions to it. So it's very important. If you haven't smoked marijuana for years and you're thinking, oh, well, let me try this, please be careful of the dosage. So another key way that you can figure out whether or not you've got an abuse problem. Hey, Kat, how are you? Good to see you. I was wondering if you were going to log on tonight. Let us know how things are going. Another good way to figure out if you've got an abuse or a dependency is check out how much you're using. Check out the frequency of what you're using. Also, any physical symptoms you have. Okay, do you have withdrawals? Do you have a feeling of like that kind of anxiety that like, oh crap, like I was working with a heroin addict who thankfully got off his addiction, and he's been doing pretty well. But he said something that I never forgot. He said, man, now that I'm clean, I don't have to worry about running out. And that just stuck with me, because that is definitely one of the hallmarks of somebody who has an addiction, a dependency. Oh God, what happens if I run? I can't run out. I can't run out. And heroin's a nasty withdrawal. I mean, most people who are addicted to heroin will tell you they get high. Sure, it feels good, but they're doing it when they're at a high level of addiction. They're doing it just to not get sick, not to feel the withdrawal feelings, because the withdrawal feelings are so bad that they just keep doing it and they keep using and using. So Kat is saying, I'm here at the center. I'm waiting for intake to come out and get me. They're just confirming that a private room is being arranged before I go back. Excellent, Kat. We're all with you, sister. We're all with you. Okay. Don't, if you can, if they give you internet access there, feel free to log on and let us know how we're thinking, but you're doing the right thing. Okay, Kat, remember, you did not ask for the abuse that has caused, how about this? I'll put my hand down. Sorry. You did not ask for the abuse that has caused your psyche to fracture out. You didn't. You didn't. And your brother, trying to contact you through somebody and triggering you again, you didn't ask for any of that. Okay, Kat? So you have to look at going into this center, into this facility, as getting the help you need. Just like if you had COVID-19, if you had really bad COVID-19, you would admit yourself into the hospital to get treatment. That's what you're doing. Remember, Kat, we've got to move towards integration. It's not a quick fix, but we've got to go from fractured and fragmented to integration. And of course, it's going to take time to do that. It's going to take some time to do that. But you got to believe, you got to keep believing that that's possible, that you can start integrating more so that everything's not fractured and fighting each other and all of that negativity, all those alters telling you negative things. But please get back into the work. Push yourself while you're in there. I don't know if I'll have the internet or my phone. It's a private center, not a normal ward, so I don't know their protocols. Okay, well, you'll have to find out. And, you'll have to do whatever. Yeah, exactly, Penny. You can do this, Kat. You'll have to do whatever they're recommending for you to do. But Kat, remember, you're going to be in a controlled environment, okay? Now, I'm not saying to flood yourself and, get yourself all re-triggered and all that, but you may want to put a little more weight on the bar, so to speak. You may want to push yourself a little bit more, knowing that you're in a place that they can control whatever negative reaction you're going to have, okay? Because, Kat, Samantha saying, I promise there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We will be there when you have internet. Exactly. We're all rooting for you, sister. Okay. You want to heal. You want to heal. That's obvious. You've got to start exposing yourself slowly, gently to the fear. You know what the fear is. The fear is facing the trauma, facing the abuse. Okay, right. Sam saying focus on therapy. Take control of Kat. Remember, there is a unified Kat in you. A Kat. Remember, don't ever forget that. I know, Kat, we've been talking for a few weeks now. I've worked with people with wide ranges of psychiatric disorders, okay? The fact that you are still trying to heal and you know that there is a solid Kat in you, that's the one that we need to integrate these other alters into you, okay? Sam is saying, I know the fear, you're stronger, I promise. My doctor is also, Kat saying, my doctor is also having me start working with his female colleagues. He thinks if I speak to her, I may open up more about what happened. Beautiful. So, Kat, what I'm going to recommend for you to do before you do this is, whenever I'm working with a client with a pretty significant abuse history, is I don't just jump in with the abuse work. We prep. We do a lot of mental prep. We start mentally like an athlete, because I do use a lot of sports psychology. We start mentally prepping, saying, I can do this. Yeah, I can open up. I can start opening up. I need to. The fact that I haven't been able to do it is okay, but I've got to. The only way you're going to integrate all of those alters, sister, is by facing the fear. And we know what the fear is, sister. We know what the fear is. Remember, the fear is exposing yourself to the abuse, the memories of the abuse. It's a fearful thing. Who wouldn't be afraid of it when it's happened to you to the degree that it has? Who wouldn't be afraid of it, Kat? But the key is, you've got to start telling yourself you can do this. I'm not talking about pushing you into the pool. I don't know if you guys remember the American Sniper guy, the guy who was shot on the shooting range. I don't know if you know the whole backstory there, but he decided, and again, I'm not putting him down. This dude could snap me like a toothpick. Kat is saying he thinks that it's a trust issue with him, because I don't trust men hardly. Well, you don't have any reason to trust men. And to be quite frank about my gender, a lot of men suck. Excuse my French. Not a man hater, but a lot of the problems on this planet is because of unworked on male bullshit. Excuse my French. It is. And I own it. I own it in my relationship with my wife. We have our issues too, but we talk it out. But yes, I know you don't trust men, but what you're going to learn, Kat, is not every man is like you're the abuser, you're your brother. They're not. You've got to start allowing that into your mind as a possibility, and not all men are like that. But like I was saying, so the American Sniper guy decided to take, whoops, that should be off, sorry. The American Sniper gentleman decided to take a post-traumatic stress disordered colleague, fellow warrior of his, to the shooting range to try to work on his PTSD. Now, if this dude was my friend, I would have been like, bro, whoa, pump the brakes here. Has this guy had any treatment? What trigger level is he at? Where is his PTSD? Is he on medication? When's the last time he's been around shooting? Unfortunately, what happened, not putting the dude down, warrior, sniper, keeping our country safe. I give away sessions to people in the military and police officers who can't get in, not putting him down. What happened? The guy got triggered and shot him, and now he's dead. So, Kat, I'm not recommending to you to get overexposed here. But what I am recommending, Kat is saying, yes, she's the one admitting me. She's going to treat me while I'm in here. Beautiful. Is you've got to allow for the possibility that you can face those demons. That remember those that painful demon, and I don't mean demon like a demon. I mean the fear of the pain is causing you to feel that it's unmanageable. That's what fear does. Remember, false fear, F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. I didn't come up with that. False evidence appearing real. The fear will tell you, no, I can't handle that. I can't talk about those painful memories. So they just sit there like an untreated cancer. They just sit there. Hey, Josie, how are you? Thanks for logging on. Please share this, people. We're talking about mental illness. We're talking about substance abuse, but we're taking a moment to help a viewer who is about to go in and get some help for some mental illness that she didn't ask for, that was caused by abuse, that she shouldn't be ashamed of. Who should be ashamed? Your brother, the abuser. Not the victim. I know victim is such a bad word. Victim is not a bad word. There's nothing wrong with the word victim. Staying a victim, that's a different story. There's nothing wrong with being a victim. Kat, you're the victim of abuse. That's why you have this mental illness condition, okay? So Kat's saying, what happened is my original therapist, right after the abuse stopped, and that messed me up. Yeah, he made it seem like I may have consented to it or encouraged it in some way. You almost made me curse, Kat. I'm not going to curse. But look, okay, I'm not going to get into the whole treatment of sexual abuse victims because I've worked with hundreds, thousands if you count the group work. But Kat, I don't know how old you were when this happened with your brother. Okay? Nobody should be telling you anything like you encouraged it or you consented to it. Because even if you did encourage or consented to it, I'm not saying you did, you had no idea what you were doing and you had no idea what you were getting into. Okay? So we're not going to focus on that right now. And we're not going to focus on somebody who's telling you stupid crap like that you consented or encouraged it. I would love to find out what's in that therapist's back room of his mind to even say that to an abuse victim. I wonder where he's come or she's coming out of. But anyway, Kat, let's not focus on that because we both know you didn't encourage or consent it. Or if you did, we need to face that and deal with that. I'm not saying you did, but the reality of it is this, Kat. You've got to focus on building up ego strength, like we talked about last time. Ego strength is Kat saying to Kat, I can do this. I can handle this. If I decompensate in here, I'm in a safe place. Wow, I remember it starting at around age 5. How long before that stopped? When I was around 11. God damn, sister, that's a long time. I don't know. How old was your brother? If you could just let me know. I don't know how old your brother was, but geez, man. 5 to 11, that is just a rough developmental period, okay? It is. So, Kat, we need to start soothing that broken, scared, hurt little girl inside of you. We got to start talking to her. You're doing the right thing. We remember last 2 days ago, we're talking about you got to believe in your ability to heal. Now, does that mean you're going to, he was in his late teens when it started? Yeah. I'm sure you consented to that, Kat. I'm sure. So, look, there are multiple layers of sexual abuse. I don't know if you caught Candace's story, who had been through some pretty significant sexual abuse by her stepfather. And there are multiple layers of treating somebody with sexual abuse, okay? The main thing that sexual abuse does, and we're going off topic here, which is fine. We can talk about substance abuse and dependency and all that later, but Kat's about to go in. So the main issue that happens with people who have been sexually abused is self-hatred. They hate themselves. They hate that it's still bothering them. They think they're broken, they're battered, they're never going to heal. They're going to always feel like this. So, Kat, when I say that you have to believe in your ability to heal, I don't mean you're going to heal and never think about this again and be over it, but I'm talking about integrating it into you, okay? That's how we heal. That's why this work is not a quick fix. That's why these quote unquote mental health people online who are giving advice and TED Talks or whatever and have no mental health training are like, let it go. Get over it. Don't think about it. You got negativity? Don't focus on it. Why do they say that? They have no clue how to deal with it, okay? So it's Sam saying, they're wrong, you know better. The pit of your being, you got this. Kat is saying, honestly, you're the first person I've opened up to this much, especially in public. Thank you. I appreciate that, Kat. But please don't give me that credit. I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. Please don't give me that credit. You are doing it. The healing is inside of you. I am not doing it. I'm helping you, of course, realizing that I can deal with this. I can handle this. But you are the change agent, sister, not me. You, that change, that healing is in you. You should be saying to you, damn, I'm proud of the fact that I've opened up this much, especially in public. I'm glad I have. That's a good sign. That means maybe it's not as scary as I thought. You're dipping. There's a word for you. You're sticking and dipping, and it comes out stipping. You're dipping your toe slowly into that trauma pool, and you're realizing, it hurts, but it may not be that bad. This is the time, sister, while you're in this facility to push yourself. If you decompensate and fall apart, you're safe. You're safe. Remember, they are trained to do this. They will put things in your immediate environment to help you deal with this. Kat's saying, but your approach is just so welcoming and comforting. I feel you won't blame me is what it is. Beautiful. Blame you. Blame you. The fact that you blame you is what your abuser taught you. I'm sure he groomed you. I'm sure he told you this is what you want, or this is our special secret, or this is how we're going to get closer, or if you tell mom and dad, I'm going to kill you, or who's going to believe you, whatever these abusers tell people. Of course, it's not your fault. 5-year-old kid? Come on. I was working with somebody today who's going through the exact same thing. She got sexually abused when she was 16, and she's been blaming herself for it. Like it's her fault. It's not her fault. Hey, Judy, how are you? Thanks for logging on. Not your fault, sister. It's not your fault. You're still affected by this. I don't know how old you are, by the way, Kat. I'm sensing like mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, something like that. But it's not your fault that it's still affecting you. It's a serious wound. That's why your psyche is split off, because that's the way your mind is trying to heal. Okay? That's what happens when we have extreme forms of trauma. Dissociation. You dissociate at the time that it's happening, and then that causes dissociative identity disorder. That's what happens when we're abused. But Kat, Just turned 37. Okay, awesome, beautiful, great age, great age. I got shoes older than you. No, I'm kidding. But I'm 55, and I've done a lot of work on myself. Still hit a little pocket of unhealed work a couple nights ago with my 5-year-old. So that has opened my eyes to, got to get back in there and do some work. So Kat, and you see how I talk about it? I'm not ashamed of that. I'm proud of the fact that I'm working on myself. I'm proud of the fact that I'm not fixed. I'm not healed. I'm not done. It's a constant state. It's a constant state. So Kat, Sam saying 56 and fabulous, beautiful, So good, 37, great age, great age. So go for it, okay? Slowly, but push. It's time. You can look back on this as like, okay, cool. This is when I notched it up a little bit. And it's not a coincidence that you found this live stream either. It's all part of that healing process. And not to get too metaphysical, but I do believe we are inside of something. We are inside of some healing something. I don't know what it is, and we can do a live stream on my views about that, but I genuinely believe we are inside something that has healing as part of the nature. Look at nature. Look at rain healing. I mean, I could go on and on. But we're not going to get into that. That's okay. No, it's okay. You're not getting me off topic, sister. Like I said before, you are the topic. This is why I'm doing this. I just start with a topic to get the ball rolling. But the reason I started these live streams is to engage. Pam saying, I believe, exactly. The reason I started these live streams is to engage with people about their mental health and mental illness, because that's what we need to do. We need to talk about our mental illness. And I love seeing Michael Phelps on TV talking about, there's nothing wrong with talking to a therapist. There's nothing wrong with talking to a therapist. If there's something wrong with talking to somebody like me, then there's something wrong with going to your dentist. There's something wrong with going to your cardiologist. Okay? Because there's just because I'm a psychologist and then there's a dentist. Come on, people. We need to wake the hell up, because there's this polar. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So Kat, sorry. My clients love when I rant. But anyway, Kat, time to push a little bit. Okay? It's time. Connect with this female therapist. First, if there's a male therapist in there afterwards, push yourself a little bit too. But you're in the right environment. Okay? You're in the right environment to do this work. You're in the right place. If you have some sort of decompensating psychiatric event, guess what? You're in the right spot. And if you do, Kat, that's part of the healing. Okay? Don't frame any breaks or psychiatric events you have in there as, oh God, you see. No, that's part of the healing. Okay? Sometimes you have to fall apart to come back together. That's part of the healing. The problem is you spent your whole life being afraid of falling apart, and for rightfully so, because there's a fear of going and staying crazy, of losing it. There is. We all have that fear to a degree. All right, they're calling me now. I'll get in touch when I can. Thank you, Doc, and everyone. Beautiful, Kat. Go for it, sister. Slowly. Remember, slow exposure. Let us know. If you want to give my contact information to somebody in there and they can send me an email or call me, please tell them to. We'd love to hear. Here's my website. Give them this website and tell them that I'd love to get an update just so I can let people know. Okay? All right, Kat. We'll talk soon. We're right there with you. Believe in your ability to heal, Kat. Keep going. All right, people. That was great timing. Right before she went in, she logged on. So that's perfect. So give me a little chill for the night about how meaningful coincidentally things can be sometimes. So let's go back into the topic before I have to log off and do my thing. But so if you're struggling with a substance, okay, you know whether it's too much or not. Okay, you know whether or not the substance you're repeatedly using is getting too much. Now, you may be in denial. You may be in denial about that. You may be saying, quick indicator if you're using too much is if you say this to a lot of you, well, I'm not as bad as Larry, or I'm not doing as much as Bill. If you're saying that kind of stuff to yourself, there's a good chance you may have some sort of dependency or abuse issue. Okay. So now what do we do with that? We need to identify it as something that needs to be worked on. We need to identify it. If you're doing more and more and more to get higher or buzzed or whatever, you got an issue. If you've got members of your family who repeatedly tell you, you have an issue. The problem is, once you identify that you have an issue, then what? Then what do you do? What do most people do when they identify that they have a weakness or something psychologically or emotionally affecting them? They don't want to deal with it because it means, like I said before, it means like that they're weak. The key to getting help, people, if you can identify that you have an abuse or dependency issue, the key is building up motivation, okay? Building up some motivation as to why you want to get clean, why you want to manage your addiction. And, a lot of people, if you're from the AA model, you believe it's either use or don't use. It's black or white. It's either all or nothing. And, quite frankly, when you've been doing this as long as I have, black or white does not always work for people. Okay? Exactly. Sam saying in your heart of hearts, you are addicted. Black or white doesn't always work for people. I had a client once who, very high performing business person, but would wake up in dive bars, would wake up in parks. His goal was to tone it down. His goal, you're welcome, Kat. His goal was just to tone down how much he was drinking. He made a decision. I don't want to never have a drink. I want to enjoy some wine. But he had to learn how to manage it. And to date, last text I got from him was things are still progressing. If you set it up in your mind as an all or nothing, meaning that I have to quit forever or I'm just going to keep going on these runs, then you're probably not going to do anything about it. You've got to decide in your, to yourself, what do you want to do here? Okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to continue using this substance that is causing me pain? And for alcohol, for all it's pleasurable TV commercials with all the pretty people carrying the six pack and the movie stars pushing bourbon and all this, they don't show you the dark side. Listen, again, I'm no spring chicken in this field. Over 20 years, multiple treatment facilities. Alcohol is feel-good poison, people. It's feel-good poison. Too much of it poisons your body, poisons your mind, and poisons your relationships. Okay? So Sam's saying it is cheesy, but one day at a time is really the only way, in my opinion. Absolutely. Absolutely. That whole idea that you don't want to set, I'm going to be sober the rest of my life. You want to set your goal to be sober for today. If you're going to be total sobriety, that's a great way to look at it, one day at a time. But what I encourage people, if you're watching this and you know that there's an issue with a substance in your life, whether that's sex, whether that's shopping, whether that's politics, whatever is bringing you joy, and you're doing it more and more, you got to start setting little manageable goals. So if you have 2 or 3, 6 beers a day, you got to start asking yourself, can I get by on 4? Can I get by on 3? And begin to deal with the impulse that tells you you cannot deal with it unless you're drunk, unless you're buzzed. But you got to separate out, is it dependency? Is it abuse? Remember, dependency, some of the hallmarks of dependency are you need it. Look at the word dependency. I'm dependent. We all know what dependency feels like. Now, there's a healthy amount of dependency, not so much with drugs and alcohol, but in relationships. That's a whole nother issue. But if you can honestly say, oh man, I can't even imagine going home and not having half a bottle of wine. You got some dependency issues. And some people might say, well, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with having dependency issues. It's a personal decision. You might want to check in with the people around you. You might want to go get your body organs checked out. Okay. Abuse. I'm doing this and a lot of negative crap is happening in my life, but I keep doing it. Those are some of the difference. Those are some of the specifiers. And there's a whole bunch of different ones, but I don't want to get too technical because I want to keep this I call it a felt experience, what it feels like to the person watching. And then you got to ask yourself, where am I going to be if you're younger? Where are you going to be when you're 50s? You're going to still be drinking as much as you are? What pain am I covering up? Is the alcohol, drugs, marijuana, whatever it may be, is it medicine? Is there a medicinal quality to it where I don't want to deal with the pain? I don't want to face what I need to face? You got to start managing it if it's there. Now, there are people who use, there are people who can have a beer here or there, or smoke some weed here or there, or I don't know about casual, heroin use and things like that. But, some of the other drugs, maybe it's not a problem. Maybe you can go without it for a little while. That's one of the keys. Again, if you think you don't know what you're abusing or dependent on it, see how long you can go without it. But there's a part of you that knows it's too much. So basically, the next step would be seeking out treatment. Okay, I was watching the Tiger Woods documentary on HBO the other night. HBO's not paying me. I wish they were, but they're not. But anyway, he talked about how he got clean from all those pharmaceuticals and how that helped his life and where he was and the stuff he learned from his dad. That's what treatment is, people. Treatment fills in the, why am I like this? Why do I drink so much? What's going on there? What's happening that I need this substance to feel good about myself? What's going on there? Why can't I just feel good without this? Why do I need to feel the time? Why do I have to do this drug or alcohol to feel good? Why? Those are the questions that therapy and working and getting clean and working in a facility will help you find out. Okay? So that there's nothing wrong with getting help. If you're watching this and you're thinking, damn, maybe I do need to, there's nothing wrong with that. Like Kat was saying, she's about to go into a facility to get some treatment, some help. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with getting mental or emotional help, psychological help. Nothing. It's been so stigmatized in our society that people just use drugs and alcohol to treat themselves. And it takes an incredible toll. Like I always tell people, therapy has no side effects, no negative side effects. You're going to go through a little pain, but that pain helps build up your ability to heal. So the topic for tonight as we close out, how to manage substance use, abuse, and dependency. One of the keys is that M word that is all over our society, mindfulness. Thinking about your thinking, being aware of why do I need to drink and smoke or whatever as much as I do. What am I covering up? What is it about my life that is so difficult to deal with without drugs or alcohol? What is it? What is it? See, I need my wife to dress me more because I didn't even realize my collar was messed up. But what is it? Why am I not dealing with those issues in my life that are causing me to need drugs and alcohol? That's what mindfulness will do. You'll start thinking about your thinking. So if you want to manage your abuse or dependency, get into it, manage it, take the signs that you're seeing and work on it. If you can identify that you're dependent on it, maybe you'll be okay with that. Maybe your answer to that is, hey, I'm okay with being dependent on alcohol or drugs or whatever. I'm okay. I'm dependent on it. That's a personal decision. But if you're not okay with needing a drug or an alcohol to function, then work on it. And there are many ways to work on it. You can talk out why you need this with somebody. Okay? So let's not give up. Let's keep talking about our mental illness. Let's keep working on it. Let's keep allowing ourselves to heal by talking things out. Okay? Managing substance abuse and dependency can be done, but it has to be done from a mindful perspective. You have to ask yourself questions like, why am I continuing to use this drug or alcohol? What am I getting? What is it doing for me? What is my motivation? Do I have people in my life that are telling me, dude, what is up with this? Why are you drinking? You're drinking too much. There are ways to manage using drugs and alcohol that aren't all or nothing, that you have to be completely sober or dropping down on the floor, passed out, blacking out. There are many ways to deal with it. So I encourage everyone, if you're struggling with an addiction, if you're struggling with abuse or dependency on a substance, a person, a job, sex, or whatever, like Sam said, you know that there's an issue. And the first step is to say to yourself, it's okay that I have this issue, but I got to work on it. I have to work on it. I have to figure out what is pushing me forward. Why do I keep doing this knowing that it's causing me to have negative feelings, negative thoughts, and negative events in my life? Okay? And a lot of it comes out of self-hate. I'll always ask new clients, how many self-loving addicts do you think I've worked with? Obviously not any. Self-hate fuels addiction. The addict hates themselves for using, then they need to use more, and then the cycle just deepens and they hate and hate. And that self-hate that's fueling the addiction, a lot of times it's coming out of abuse, people. It's coming out of abuse. And if we don't work, there's an old, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Magnolia. Great movie if you ever get a chance. Lol, but great movie. But there's a guy, a TV host in there who says, and it's not his line, I think it comes from something many years ago. But anyway, he said, you may think your past is done with you. No, wait a minute. You may think you're done with your past, but your past ain't done with you. And that sums up what most people are going through. They keep thinking there ain't nothing wrong with me. My past is done and their past ain't done with them. And a lot of that self-hate that fuels addiction is coming out of trauma, is coming out of stuff you don't want to deal with. And if there are things in your life that you can say, oh, no, I don't even want to think about that, man. I don't want to talk about that. That's what you should be thinking and talking about. And that's the fuel for substance abuse, okay? And again, I'm not saying don't ever drink or smoke or what. I'm not saying, I'm not an absolutist. I'm saying you got to figure out the degree to which you're doing it and why you're doing it and how much you're doing it, okay? Well, thank you, everybody. We'll stay tuned and see how Kat does. Remember, please check out some of the other content on my YouTube page. I got stuff going back there from 5 years ago. You might hear other people using it, and hey, what can you do? Everyone likes to use everyone else's stuff, but the reality of it is a lot of people are misusing a lot of these psychological tools on the internet. They're using them like they have no clue how to use them. So please check out some of my other videos. Please subscribe, like the page on Facebook, but please continue. If anyone needs to get in contact with me, here's my website. But please, people, if you want to be on the show and be interviewed, you can text me on this number. But please, please, please work on your issues, okay? There's nothing wrong with them. One of my website feeders is everyonehasissues.com. Why is that? Because everyone has issues. Everyone has issues. Everyone has stuff they're not dealing with. All right. So let's not lose hope. Let's keep working on our mental health, our mental illness. Everyone has a degree of mental illness. The problem is most people are not working on it. So we live in this polarized society where people are just clinging to QAnon and or leftist things or rightist things and trying to, and this, we're just polarizing more and more. Why? Because it's going on within us. It's a projection from inside out. Okay. All right, people. Good to see everybody. Let's all say, send Kat some good vibes as she goes in to start to continue her healing process. Please, people, let's work on our issues. Okay. We've got to work on our issues. There's nothing wrong with having issues. Nothing. Okay. Nothing is wrong with having issues. We need to work on them. You need to work on them with the same intensity or same way you would work on your dental issues or your physical issues or whatever other issues, financial issues. Okay. All right, guys. It's Dr. Stephen Walker logging off. Check me out online. Shoot me a text or whatever. I'll see you guys on Tuesday night. Trying to have some more guests lined up. I have mixed feelings about the guests. Thanks, Penny. You're welcome. You're welcome, Debbie. Thank you for sharing, coming on. I have mixed issues about having guests. No, I mean like other guests, not people. I'd love to have anyone come on who's a viewer and talking about their stuff, but I mean guests who have, a book or whatever, because I don't want it to take away from the interactive nature. So let me know if anyone has any show ideas or anything you want me to cover. Shoot me a message and I'll do that. Okay. All right, guys, have a great weekend. And I'll see you on Tuesday night. Take it easy.